I have a little comment or a question actually. You right at the beginning of the part that you just went through, you made a statement that uh, we chose knowledge over wisdom, and I wanted to ask if you meant we chose understanding over wisdom.
I meant that we chose to know the world through a mind or a mental hijacked state rather than through true discernment, which comes from the body chakras, what we would call like gut instinct. We chose to forego that connection to weave, that connection to our divinity that let us just be with source at all times. Talks about Adam and Eve walking in the garden with God. Well, what that means to me is that they were with their divinity, they were with their divine consciousness. And there's even a part that talks about like Adam throwing himself off of a cliff to just relieve himself of the suffering of being separate from God. And yet, because there was no death in those times, it was just dealing with the scars of being not only separate but now hurt with those scars as well. The original human wounding, that am I instead of that I am presence. And so from spirit's perspective, what we are regaining is the wisdom consciousness, which has been lacking since we moved from the ninth dimensional, or the space where this planet was originally designed to be a vacation zone where we learned individuality, where we got to experience separation from source, but in a really beautiful way. And the consciousness got very attached to form, and it began distorting the original blueprint. And because this is a free will universe and a free will planet, we were allowed to do so for a certain amount of time. And obviously, we have taken that to great degrees. But we are now swinging into unity, and wisdom has to return. Knowledge, or simply allowing the mind to collect things, is no longer supportive enough for where we're going.
So it's definitely speaking to that, brain, ego, I person that we walk around with and say our name is this versus the ancient wisdom that comes through our DNA and our cellular makeup. And then when we start, viscerally feeling like if you were born into it as a child, you lose it because the damn culture extinguished it out of you. And then you have a path that you're walking on as an adult, and you're starting to get these sensate feelings again. And but it takes like a very well, I was just going to say this, for like some people, it takes like a very extreme experience for your latent, feeling senses to wake up, that I am presence to start firing inside of you. And bless everybody whose path that is. I feel like definitely I've been that type of person where it's like I'm so dense as a, am I person, that the I am has such a hard time penetrating. And so I have to have kind of an ordeal of power take place for me to really, really grasp what my path is, what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm actually supposed to be oriented on. And I feel like, to a degree, like I'm representing the collective. It's like these people are not getting it. Okay, make it even harder, and that's what we're all experiencing. Like, we're like, why has it got to be so hard? Well, because they're not getting it. They're choosing to learn knowledge, like you say, Marcia. They're choosing to let it fuel their personality self instead. So that kind of like circulates and spirals into the power of those that were, it helps them. It prolongs something that isn't actually there anymore, but we feel like it is because everybody's prolonging it. It's like stirring a pot of stew that we really just need to pour into the ditch, like go back to source.